Since the first settlers arrived on Irish shores over thousands and thousands of years ago, they have been leaving their mark on the landscape. All over the island there is thousands of interesting sites and historical places to visit. So in today's video we're going to take a look at 8 counties in Ireland and look at the history and stories behind these sites that have been handed down from generation to generation. Right, let's start in what was once the 5th province of Ireland, County Meath, and look at the Passage Tomb there. When I mention a passage tomb in Meath, everyone will think of the iconic Newgrange, but I want to look at the lesser known one, Loughcrew Cairn. The Loughcrew megalithic cemetery, also known as the Hills of the Witch, is a collection of Neolithic passage tombs situated near Oldcastle in County Meath. These ancient tombs, dating back to 3000 BC, are spread across 4 rolling hills. Among these tombs is one of the largest, known as Cairn T. Inside it features a chamber, a corbelled roof and some of the finest examples of Neolithic art in Ireland. The cairn is also aligned with the sunrise during the spring and autumn equinoxes. This precise alignment demonstrates the advanced understanding these ancient people had of astronomy and the stars. Like all these ancient sites in Ireland, they are steeped in stories and Irish folklore, and the story associated with Loughcrew is the Cailleach, or the Old Hag, which gave the name the Hills of the Witch. And one version of the story tells of the Cailleach, with her immense strength, was able to jump across the hills while carrying large stones in her apron. Her goal was to create a series of stone cairns in the night. As she jumped from hill to hill, she dropped these stones, which became the passage tombs we see today. If she succeeded placing these stones, she would gain great power. However, as dawn broke, she missed her final leap and fell to her death. From one assortment of rocks to another, let's head over to Dublin. However, these rocks were placed in Irish soil thousands and thousands of years later. In Howth and scattered all around the coastline of Ireland, you will find these stone markings, spelling out Éire, which is Ireland in Irish. These date all the way back to 1939. As Europe was engulfed in World War II, Ireland adopted a policy of neutrality. But despite this, conflicts loomed large over the island, so to safeguard the neutrality and to monitor for potential threats, Ireland established the Coastal Watch, a network of lookouts all around the island. These 83 lookout posts around the coastline were manned by over 500 men who worked in shifts to keep a vigilant eye over the seas, reporting any unusual activities or sightings of ships and aircrafts to the Irish military. To aid in navigation and to prevent accidental bombings, each lookout post was marked by large whitewashed stones spelling out Éire. These signs were intended to signal to pilots that they were flying over neutral territory. Each letter stood 12 metres tall, ensuring that they could be seen by pilots overhead, and proved crucial in helping Allied and Axis pilots identify their location and avoid unintended incursions into neutral airspace. In recent years, efforts have been made to preserve and restore these historical markers, and they remain a visible reminder of Ireland's wartime neutrality. Let's stick on this rock team and head north to County Antrim, home of the iconic Giant's Causeway. The difference with these rocks is that they were formed over 60 million years ago and were not man-made. The causeway was created by volcanic activity. As molten basalt pushed through the chalk beds, it formed large lava plateaus. When the lava cooled, it contracted and cracked into the distinctive columnar structures we see today. They vary in height, with the tallest reaching about 12 metres high, and they form stepping stones that lead from the cliff's foot and disappear under the sea. Our ancestors before us, not knowing the sort of science behind it, would come up with their own myths and legends to describe these strange columns. One was, of course, that the causeway was built by the giant Fionn McCool. According to Irish folklore, the legend tells of a rivalry between Fionn McCool, a giant of immense strength, and Ballandonner, a giant from Scotland. Fionn was eager to prove his might and built the causeway across the sea to challenge Ballandonner. When Fionn reached Scotland and saw the enormous size of the Scottish giant, he realised that he had underestimated his opponent. In a panic, Fionn fled back to Ireland with the Scottish giant in hot pursuit. Fionn's wife Una came up with a clever plan to protect her husband. Una disguised Fionn as a baby and tucked him into a cradle. When Ballandonner arrived, he saw the baby and he was astounded by the size of Fionn's child, thinking that if the baby was this large, then the father must be truly gigantic. Terrified, the giant fled back to Scotland and destroyed the causeway behind him to prevent Fionn from following him. And if you're ever in Scotland, you will see the other end of this bridge, the similar basalt formations known as Fingal's Cave, found on the Scottish island of Staffa. Let's head to the other end of the island and to the best cliffs in Ireland. And I don't mean the cliffs of Moher in Clare, but the Kerry cliffs a bit further south. Now, I might upset a couple of Clare people here, but I've been to both and Kerry cliffs are just more spectacular. And there's a reason for this, is that the Kerry cliffs are higher. They stand at 300 metres or 1,000 foot for Americans, and the cliffs of Moher stand at about 214 metres or 700 feet. The cliffs are actually formed around 400 million years ago, when the area was a vast river delta. Over the millennia, and the relentless forces of winds and waters sculpted these magnificent cliffs into their current form. And while you're at the cliffs, you can also see in the distance the Skellig Islands, including Skellig Michael, famous for its early Christian monastic settlement that appeared in the Star Wars films. Let's head back to Leinster in Wicklow and look at another lesser known passage tomb known as Seefin Passage Tomb. High on the summit of Seefin Hill in County Wicklow, Ireland, lies an ancient structure known as Seefin Passage Tomb. Constructed over 5,000 years ago, Seefin Passage Tomb is a prime example of megalithic architecture from the Neolithic period. The tomb consists of a large cairn, roughly 24 metres in diameter and 3 metres high, and just like Loughcrew in Meath, these monuments and structures were built as burial sites, but also places for rituals and gatherings where communities came to celebrate their ancestors, gods, and the natural world. The passage within the tomb is aligned with the setting of the sun during the winter solstice, a testament to the sophisticated astronomical knowledge of these ancient builders. And like all these sites in Ireland, Seefin Passage Tomb is also wrapped in local legend and Irish folklore. And the story goes that, again, the giant Fionn McCool built the tomb as a burial place for his son who died in a great battle. Heartbroken by his loss, Fionn used his immense strength to carry these massive stones to the top of Seefin Hill and constructed the tomb as a monument to his son's bravery and their family legacy. In another version of the legend, the tomb is said to be a fairy mound inhabited by the fairy people in Irish mythology. It is believed that these mythical beings used the tomb as a portal between the human world and their own otherworldly realm. Let's head north, and nestled in the heart lies Navan Fort. It's not Navan in County Meath, but Navan Fort in Armagh dates back to the late Bronze Age and the Iron Age, around 700 BC to about 500 AD. And again, it's an ancient ceremonial site characterised by the large circular earthwork enclosed with a central mound. And archaeological excavations of the site reveal a complex history of construction. According to myth, Navan Fort was the royal capital of Ulster and the seat of Clonmacnoise, or Clonmacnoise. It was here where the famous Red Branch Knights, including the legendary Cú Chulainn, trained and resided. Navan Fort is also named after Macha, a powerful goddess in Irish mythology, and according to legend, Macha was forced to race the king's horses while heavily pregnant. She won the race but gave birth to twins on the spot and cursed the men of Ulster to suffer the pains of childbirth in their times of great need. In County Carlow, we'll look at the Brownshill Dolmen. This ancient structure is one of the most impressive portal tombs in Ireland. It dates back again to the Neolithic period of approximately about 5,000 years ago, and is renowned for its colossal capstone, which is estimated to be over 100 metric tons, making it the largest in Europe. The dolmen consists of a massive granite capstone resting on two upright portal stones and a backstone forming a portal into the chamber beneath. Like all Irish local folklore, the dolmen is often linked to tales of giants and ancient warriors, with one suggesting that the capstone itself was carried and placed by a giant, while the other tells of a chieftain who was buried beneath the massive stone, protecting his tribe even in death. The landscape of the Burren, with its creeping woods and echoing caves, is said to be the inspiration for J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. Tolkien was a frequent visitor to Ireland, returning to the country several times between 1949 and 1959. His role as an external examiner with the English department at the National University of Ireland, NUI Galway, brought him to the Burren, where he stayed with friends at Gregan's Castle in Ballyvaughan. During his visits, Tolkien often wandered through the mystical landscape of the Burren, and it's easy to imagine how the stark beauty of the region might have seeped into his creative subconscious. The biggest evidence of this is one of the caves in the Burren called Pol na Gollum, a cave that shares the name with one of Tolkien's most iconic characters. And the cave itself is renowned for the guttural sounds produced by the echoing calls of rock doves, which eerily resemble Gollum's distinctive gurgling cough. And it is tempting to speculate that the name and atmosphere of this cave contributed to Tolkien's depiction of Gollum in his epic saga. But there's also some other similarities with the book. The Girt de Clare mountain in the region have been compared to the misty mountains of Middle-earth, and also there is a striking parallel between the Tuatha De Danann, the otherworldly beings of Irish mythology, and Tolkien's elves. Both are portrayed as ancient, wise and deeply connected with their natural surroundings, highlighting a possible inspiration from Irish folklore in Tolkien's work. In County Offaly we'll look at the historic site of Clonmacnoise. Founded in the 6th century by St. Kieran, this ancient monastic settlement is a wealth of medieval ruins including churches, round towers and high crosses. But there's also a weird story of the airships of Clonmacnoise from Irish medieval folklore. This legend dates back to about the 11th or 12th century and describes a curious or mystical event said to have occurred at the ancient monastic site of Clonmacnoise. One day, as people were attending a service or gathering outside, they were astounded to see what appeared to be a ship sailing in the sky above them. This airship, with its sails and rigging, floated in the clouds as if it were traversing a celestial sea. People watched in amazement. An anchor dropped from the ship and it got caught on the altar, and according to the story, a sailor descended the anchor chain to free it. The people on the ground attempted to capture the sailor, but he pleaded with them to let him go, saying he was drowning in our atmosphere. The people let him go and the sailor climbed back up the chain, freeing the anchor, and the ship sailed away into the sky. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, please subscribe to the channel, as I will be covering interesting sites from all over Ireland. Or if you have any stories, places or sites you want featured in an upcoming video, please let me know down in the comments. Slán go fóill.